Now, there is one project that I have been dying to make since the beginning of my channel, and now I finally have the time and the opportunity to do it. It's been on my list for ages. It's one of the first things. And so that's what we're going to be building today. So today we're just going to be taking a look at it, and then we are going to start setting it up. And in the next part, we'll work on dealing with the functionality. The first thing that you see here is we have a timer. So we have a timer, a countdown timer to count down basically what it is we're doing. There are a total of 10 questions that we're pulling from the API. This is a countdown on how many we have left. Then we have a correct count and an incorrect count. So we're going to be using Vue powered by Inertia to basically handle that logic for us. And then we're pulling these questions from the API in addition to answers. Let's see how we do. So which of these is a soccer team based in Seattle? I don't know anything about soccer. I don't know most of these answers, so we're going to try that. So we have one incorrect. Which of these colors would you find on the flag of Jamaica? Green. Which of the 7 ancient wonders of the world was a giant depiction of the Greek sun god? Okay. Helios. Let's say the Temple of Artemis. I don't know. Which is the hottest planet in the solar system? Mars. In hockey, what is the penalty called? That involves nothing about hockey, but I've heard that word used. So which word is defined as unintelligible or meaningless speech? Gibberish or gobbledygook. What did Julius Caesar cross to signal a revolt against the senator? What did he cross? The Rubicon River? Oh, nice. Got it right. What is the name of the organ that filters blood? Filters blood. Is it the kidney? Yeah. Who was the founder of the Holy Roman Empire? Founder. Is it Charlemagne? What is the plot of the movie Good Will Hunting? I think he has a gift for mathematics. But as you can see, we have finished. I have gotten 70% out of 100. I have finished in 1 minute, 10 seconds. I can play again. And then stats are not saved unless you are logged in. So we are going to be using Laravel to handle our authentication so that we can store data for our users. But if they are a guest, we're not going to be storing any of their scores. So let's take a look and see what we're actually going to be powering this with before we start setting this up. I have decided to go with the Trivia API to power the questions that we get, the questions and answers. It seems to be pretty good. The documentation is really solid and it is super easy to customize. There are other ones, but you have to sign up and create an account. This just allows you to get started with testing it in an environment without having to worry about creating an account or anything like that. If you do decide to build something way more professional than what I have, then of course there is a pricing scheme. And you do want to give them attributions. But as you can see here, it does come back as a JSON API, which is how APIs, really work. But basically, you would just be making a call to this link right here. And then you can also customize it to only grab a certain amount of questions. You can change the category. You can make it difficult or easy. And that's how you would do that. This does seem to be a pretty good one, and it is available in other languages. So there are translations for it, which I thought was really nice. So you guys can experiment with that as well. And they also have picture questions too, which is pretty cool. It's not something that I did, but it is something that you could do to power your quiz. Here are the prices for it. If you wanted to subscribe for the monthly or whatever, however it is, whatever you want to do to go as deep as you want to go. And like I said, the documentation is pretty good. It is under the Creative Commons license, which means you just really have to give it some kind of attribution or what have you. But it does also tell you where the questions come from, where the answers are coming from. And, that's pretty good. So the facts is pretty much the same. Pricing is pretty much the same. If you want to take a look at the docs, you can do that as well. And they show you what kind of categories that they do have available, which you can change here. And you would just basically add it to whatever your Axios call is or your fetch request is. And you can change tags. You can also add easy, medium, hard. And that's pretty much what I did for us. And I also did it so that it only pulls 10 questions at a time. So it's not killing the server of questions. Everything comes in as a string. The incorrect answers comes as arrays of string. And that's something that we will be getting closer to look at. But this is pretty much how it looks. You could also create a quiz and do other things as well. However deep you want to go with this, it will allow you to be able to do that. So if you take a look, there's also a live demo example that has code in React and it has code in Vue. if we take a look at this one, this is one that I kind of looked at earlier to kind of just see, just to test it out before I actually started building it. But it has a similar structure where it has a total question score, and then it has a set of questions. And as you can see, this is how the answers and questions come back from the request. So let's go ahead, get started, and start working on building up our own project. Now, I have gone ahead and already whipped up a Laravel project using one of the new starter kits, which only has really inertia with Vue in it. If we go to the package.json, you can take a look and see exactly what I'm using. Beat is in here. We have some things that we're not really going to worry about with TypeScript and Prettier and stuff like that, but we do have inertia. There is Tailwind in here. We're going to be using a bit of that. And we're going to try some of these new Blue side, I believe, is for the icons, and I don't know, there's a combination of stuff going on here. Laravel has become a bit busy lately, so I don't remember what all of these things do, but we are going to be using some of them. Not heavy, just a little bit. These are the versions I'm using, so it's going to be version 3.5 for Vue, and Vite is going to be 5.21 for the plugin, the Vue plugin. But the version of Vite itself will be 6.2. So let's go and take a look and just make sure that we're all starting at the same page. And I need the port on here. Okay, good. Oh, that looks really nice, actually. I like that. So as you can see, we do have authentication. Now, by default, Laravel is using just the standard no fluff authentication, and that's what I chose to use here because I haven't really looked at the other thing that they've introduced, but there looks like there's some kind of subscription, and I don't want to do that to you guys. So we're just going to use the default authentication, and all we really need to do from that is be able to register and log in and call it a day. This is a page that we're going to change, and we are going to make this be that actual quiz page. We are using Laravel 12. Now, I would have remembered that had we gone to the composer.json. Even though I'm not going to be explicitly using Sail in this project, I am going to create a Docker file so that you guys will have that, because I know a lot of you do still use Sail, and the Docker file will be important for the things that I have going on in here. That's pretty much it. That's all we really needed to see from all of that. Now let's go ahead and change up the route on here so that we can start viewing this quiz. So I'm just going to use the same welcome view here. It's fine. We don't really need to change anything about that. But what we can do up here is start removing stuff from this resources, pages, welcome.view, and start getting rid of that. So for us, our navigation is pretty much going to stay the same, so I'm not really going to touch that. But what I do want to do is I want to get rid of everything that's in here, because we're not going to need that, and I'm not sure what that's for, but we don't need that. And we're actually going to be using some of these components that have come with, what is it, shadcdn? Shadcdn has a bunch of components, and Laravel has installed them manually and changed some of them up, and I believe it uses Tailwind. So we can go ahead and start using them. So I'm going to use the card header, the card title, just a few of these. And this is pretty much what they look like. But they are coming in from shadcdn, and they have been customized specifically for Laravel. So let's go ahead and start with bringing some of these in and start working on that. First here, we're going to need to import card from at components, and it's lowercase, UI card, which is another folder, and then card.view. So let's start with that one. So here we can now do card, and then we'll be able to also add in properties. Now I've just changed some things in my configuration for NeoVim, so I might actually get these imported when I start typing them. I don't know yet. I haven't tried it yet. For now, we'll just type it in manually. Now this card is just going to have a couple of classes on it. These are going to be Tailwind classes, as I said. And I'm just going to do my auto and P6 for padding. Then the width is going to be 3/4, and that is pretty much it for that card. We're also going to need a card header. So let's try to see if we can import it. We'll try like this. Card header. I'll check in a minute if that was pulled in. But let's go ahead and do that. Let's go up top, card header. Hey, there it is. Oh, this is so much fun. Anyway, okay, so let's also do the card title. Field, and that's good enough for me. And then all I want on here is a class, and this class is going to be text center. Here I'm going to have a div with the classes of flex, justify, center, text, extra large, space, x, 5, margin bottom, 6. Now let's see if that did it correctly, and it did. Great. And then here we're just going to have another div with a class of flex, justify, between, and width full. So here I'm just going to have a p tag, and I'm going to put the total. This will be for the amount of questions, so I'm just going to put 10 here for now. Let's go up top, make sure this is all good, and I do want to line this up a little bit more user-friendly for myself, really. Okay, let's check the browser and just make sure that we haven't broken anything yet. Okay, look at that. We have our card. This will be the title, and let's continue on and get the rest of them. We can go down to the bottom, and actually before this, in the card title, I'm going to just copy this. This is going to have justify center, text XL, space X5, and margin bottom of 6. The duration, I do want that to be first because that's going to be our timer. And for now, I'll just put 0000. We're just basically dealing on getting this set up. All of this code is going to be linked to the GitHub repo, and you guys will have access to all of this. But for now, that's where we are. So then we have duration. Then the next one is space X10. And then we don't need a margin bottom. Now this is going to have another div, and it's going to have some classes on it. And that's where we'll put this total. Let me straighten this up a bit. And I'm going to copy this one, make sure I spell flex correctly. Flex justify between with full. So we have our total, we have our length, we have our total of 10, and then we need the remaining. And I'll also leave that, well, I'll change that to, let's say, 7. Okay, good. So we have the total and the remaining. And I'm going to copy these two. Well, actually, I'll copy it from here. Grab that. Paste it here. And then we'll also do the correct and the incorrect. Now for this correct one, we want to change the color. So I'm going to put text. We'll do green 700. And then I'll grab this and I'll paste it here. And this one will be red. And instead of 700, well, 700 looks okay. We'll do it 600. Now under this div, p tag with the class of text XL MT4. And then here, I'm just going to put some warm, say 5. That'll be the question. And that's it. Oh, actually, I want to take this and I want to put it there. Our title and our header are all taken care of. Now I want to come down here. We're going to be in the same card, but I want to create basically our buttons. We're going to do a div with the classes of flex, flex call, justify center, space X or space Y6, MX auto, width full, And on medium screens, it'll be width half, just so we can get some smaller screens, because I will be shrinking the screen so that we can see if we have errors in our DevTools. And then I'm just going to use a button. Now, this package comes with buttons, the shadcdn buttons. I'm just going to make us our own. It's not hard to make a button using Tailwind. So we're just going to do that. So we'll say button, and it's going to be type button. And I'm going to add some classes to it. It is similar to the one that comes from the shadcdn library, but I was having issues with it. I took a lot of the styling from it, but overall, it's going to be very similar. And I'm going to close that just so that we can not have to deal with that. As I said, all of this is going to be in the link to the repo so that you guys can see it. I'm just going to have, let's say, lorem, we'll say 3, and that'll be our answer. And I just want to make sure that we are able to see the styling in all of this. We'll just go ahead, paste it in, and let's straighten that up. Okay, so let's go and take a look and see what we have. Okay, good. So that's pretty much our direct formatting. All the other styling or whatever, we have a little hover on the button, which is pretty cool. And then we have our questions. Anything else we can change directly, but for now, this is good. In the next part, we are going to use the API to grab our questions so that we can fill this out and start setting this up. So how I'm going to do it for this series is because it's so much easier for me to just post a code up at the end of the series than at the beginning. This is going to be a very short series. So what I'm going to do initially is have all of this set up for you on the repo so that you guys can get the core functionality of this. And then I'm also going to include the image, the little pop-up confetti GIF that I have there. I'm going to add that to the code so that you have that initially as well. And then I will continue to code whatever. And then when we're finished, that's when I'll post up the remainder of the code. But at least you guys will have all of this in addition to the image so that you guys aren't waiting for that. The rest of the stuff will be easy to code along with. Hopefully that works out well enough for everyone. If you're enjoying the content, please go ahead and click that like button as it really does help out the channel. Here's a video YouTube thinks you'll like, and here's a playlist to follow along. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.